Vinny is a man, always doing what he can, growing up tough.
Hey, everybody. Good afternoon. Happy Tuesday to you all. So, what are we going to talk about today? Well, we're talking about Tom Jones, the great Tom Jones, the Tom Jones that was a little before my time, but I do remember him. I've seen him twice, and now in his 80s, he's still as relevant as ever. I've seen him perform YouTube, the great YouTube, which we are on now, affords you the opportunity to see all these artists without actually going to the show. And amazing, just an amazing career. And I remember my father loved him. I remember when I was, I guess, 9 or 10, my father had an album and it had him in his pose. It was live from Las Vegas, I believe. He was a headliner in Las Vegas at Caesar's Palace. Now, he was born, Sir, well, now he's a Sir, Thomas Jones Woodward. He was Thomas John Woodward. And he's a Welsh singer. He was born in 1940. June 7th, he will be 86. And I'm glad we actually did this. I didn't realize he was turning 86. Now, he had a string of hits in the 60s, top 10 hits. And he's toured regularly since for the last 60 years, pretty much. From 1967 to 2011, he performed in Las Vegas. His voice has been described as a full-throated, robust baritone. I think Pavarotti actually said that about him. Now, his performance is iconic in Las Vegas. You couldn't get a ticket at Caesar's Palace. He was the headliner. Talk about, at a time when you had, Sammy Davis there. I think the Rat Pack was ending their stay there. But you had big names, and he was a guy that everybody wanted to see. And he, between rhythm and blues and show tunes, country tunes, dance, soul, gospel even. In 2008, the New York Times called him a musical shapeshifter who could slide his raspy voice from a pop croon to husky. And it was pretty. It wasn't, whoa. He sold over 100 million records, 36 top 40 hits in the UK, 19 in the US. It's Not Unusual. Everyone knows that song. What's New Pussycat from the movie? Everyone knows that song. The theme song for the James Bond movie, which was one of the best James Bond movies, 1965, Thunderball. Green Green Grass at Home, Delilah, She's a Lady. Later on in the 90s, Sex Bomb, and a cover of Prince's Kiss. He's acted a bit. He's dabbled. He made a debut in Pleasure Cove in 1979, a television film. He appeared as himself in Tim Burton's film Mars Attacks in 1996. I was there in Vegas when they were filming that. Actually, Jack Nicholson, I believe, was in that movie. I forget what hotel I was at, but they were there. In 1970, he received the Golden Globe for Best Actor in a television series, musical or comedy, for hosting the television series This Is Tom Jones. That's when he was really hot in 1970. In 2012, he received his first dramatic acting role in Playhouse Presents. He received the Grammy Award for Best New Artist in 1966 and an MTV Video Music Award in 89. 2 Brit Awards, Best British Male in 2000, his outstanding contribution to music in 2003. He was made an Officer of the Order of the British Empire, OBE, in 98, knighted by Queen Elizabeth in 2006 for services to music. They've made a ton on him tax-wise. And he had a resurgence in popularity in the 2010s due to his role as a coach on the talent show The Voice UK. That was from 2012 to 15, and then 2017 now to present. Now, early on, Thomas John Woodward was born in Treforest in Wales. He's the son of Frida Jones and coal miner Thomas Woodward. He's primarily of English descent. His maternal grandmother was Welsh. His maternal grandmother was born in Wales to English parents from Somerset and Wiltshire. His English paternal grandfather was from Gloucestershire, and his paternal grandmother was from Wiltshire. He attended Wood Road Infant School. He began singing at an early age. He would sing at family gatherings, be the star at 7 years of age, weddings, school choir. He didn't like school sports, but he gained a lot of confidence through his singing talent. By the age of 12, he was diagnosed with tuberculosis. He spent 2 years in bed recovering. Very, very um, a story that parallels Ringo Starr, who is pretty much the same age. And Ringo Starr was in bed in a hospital for a year or a year and a half and missed out on education. It wasn't tuberculosis, it was something else that Ringo Starr had, but two very sick boys who made it good from the Queensland. So during that time that he spent in bed, all he could do was listen to music and draw. So you become autistic. You have nothing else to do, really. Now, his baritone voice, he was a tenor as a young voice. Uh, what you lose on the top end, you gain on the bottom end. So he used to be able to hit the top C when he was young. Now it's a B flat, he had said. He became a front man in 1963 for Tommy Scott and the Senators, a Welsh beat group. They gained a local following and a good reputation in South Wales. In 64, he recorded several solo tracks with a producer named Joe Meek, who took them to various record labels. Little success. Sounds like the Beatles, right? Later that year, Decca, certainly sounds like the Beatles. Their producer, Peter Sullivan, saw Tommy Scott and the Senators performing at a club, directed them to a manager, Phil Solomon, and that partnership was short-lived. It's very hard to make it in the music business, as you see. They continued to play gigs around South Wales. Gordon Mills met Jones, became his manager, introduced him to London. Mills worked in music there. Mills renamed him Tom Jones to exploit the popularity of the Academy Award-winning 1963 film by the name Tom Jones. Mills got Jones a recording contract with Decca. Chills and Fevers was his first single. It was released in late 64, just around the time, a little later than Hard Day's Night. It didn't chart, but his follow-up, It's Not Unusual, did. It became an international hit. Offshore pirate radio stations promoted it. The following year was the biggest, really, of his career in 65, and he became one of the most popular artists of the British invasion. You know, you got Help from the Beatles, a year off Hard Day's Night, Beatlemania, and he really walked in the door of that. It's Not Unusual reached number one, top 10 in the United States. So the United States is getting to see him. And then Thunderball comes out, James Bond, which was widely popular, Sean Connery in the United States. And now everyone knows who Tom Jones is. During 65, he secured a couple of theme songs for Jones to record. What's New Pussycat was the second one, written by Burt Bacharach and Hal David. Now, Jones was skeptical about What's New Pussycat when he was first approached by it, with it. He said that it was offered to him, but he thought it was a backhanded compliment. You know, I've got to have you, but this is the song I want you to sing. Burt Bacharach met with Tom Jones and convinced him, and only Bacharach's great reputation swayed Tom Jones to say, well, I believe him. So when he first heard it, he said, like, what did they want me to sing this for? Burt Bacharach wanted a big voice in this crazy song to make it a classic, and sure enough, he did. He was awarded the Grammy for Best New Artist in 1966. During the filming break in 65 at Paramount Studios in Hollywood, he met Elvis Presley for the first time. Presley was singing With These Hands as he walked toward him from the film set, and they became good friends till the day that Elvis died. In fact, they knew each other in Vegas because they were both headliners. Now, Tom Jones had an infamous meeting with John Lennon, where John Lennon was a wise ass, and Tom Jones kind of told him he was going to hit him around the same time. Now, in 66, Jones's popularity began to slip a bit. So Mills had to reshape his career into a crooner. He started to sing broader material. And then he topped the UK charts again and reached the top 40. Over the next few years, he had a couple of hits and he strung them together on both sides of the Atlantic. I'll Never Fall in Love Again, I'm Coming Home, Delilah, which everyone loved. And they all reached number 2 in the UK. Wondering if the Beatles kept them off number 1 or the Stones. So in 1967, he performed in Vegas for the first time, and that was at the Flamingo. And his performance style and his dress was part of the stage act. He started opening up his half-buttoned shirts, very tight trousers. I knew a friend, Steve Tyndall, who was with a band, great drummer, passed away about 10 years ago. I worked with him in stock brokerage. And he was in a band called the Druids. And he told me that he was in the bathroom in the late 60s, and Tom Jones was putting a sock in his trousers to make a bulge. And he used to do that. He had told me that. Now, he soon chose to record less and focus on club performances. He played Las Vegas at least once a week until 2011. 1 week a year until 2011. Now, we had international success also because at that time, This Is Tom Jones from 1969 to 71 was a really good show. Back then, they had variety shows like that. Remember Dean Martin's variety show? Variety shows worked in the late 60s, early 70s. Associated Television produced a show, and they said the show was worth equivalent to $71 million in today's money to Jones over 3 years. So he made a fortune. He was making equivalent to $25 million a year. He was nominated in 1970 for a Best Actor because of that series. Now, from 80 to 81, he had a second television variety show, Tom Jones. It was produced in Vancouver, and it lasted 24 episodes. Now, both shows actually fell under litigation from the original licensee, holder CF International. Judgment, and there was a whole thing and a lot of lawsuits going on. This Is Tom Jones was sold on DVD by Time Life rather than Classic World Productions because of the lawsuit, and it did well. In 1970, CBS released Raquel Welch television special, Rachel, which was Raquel. They actually misspelled it on the first promo. Directed by David Winters, and Jones was one of the guests. He was also friends with her. Those shows were really hitting at that time. In 1970s, he toured with female singing groups, Quiet Elegance and the Blossoms as backing groups. I remember he also had a terrific, on his show, there was a heavy set, big guy, big Tom Sullivan, I think his name was. And he was a session guitarist, and Big Jim Sullivan, I think it was. He was a great session guitarist. He came out with the song She's a Lady, Till, and the Young New Mexican Puppeteer in 1970. But in the 70s, by 74, 75, music had changed. His popularity declined. Those variety shows, other than like Sonny and Cher, were out. He did have a big 1976 hit, Say You'll Stay Until Tomorrow, and went number 1 on the U.S. country chart and number 15 on Billboard Hot 100. So he got some radio play, and it kind of revived him a bit. In 72, he co-starred with Jennifer O'Neill in the Special London Bridge special. And it was a Brit television show. And he accepted to do the special because it allowed him to continue doing television without having to be confined in a series. He didn't like the idea of having to get up early and do a series. Now, in 76, he was set to make his film debut in Yakowald. He was going to play a CIA assassin, but the production company ran out of money just 3 weeks into it. And who knows what would have happened there. In 79, he made his acting debut in Pleasure Cove, an ABC television film. It was a pilot for a potential television series, but it wasn't picked up. And he did a good job. His co-stars were Constance Forsland, Tanya Roberts, and David Hasselhoff, and they loved working with him. They said he was a cool guy. In 84, he guest starred in an episode of Fantasy Island, and as an accountant whose fantasies about living life as Dick Turpin. In the 80s, he started recording some country music. 80 to 86, 9 country songs went US top 40, but he never cracked the top 100 in the UK. I think they just had a different idea of who Tom Jones was. Jones' manager, longtime manager, died of cancer in 86, and Tom Jones' son Mark became his manager. In 87, he did A Boy From Nowhere, re-entered the singles charts, and went #2 in the UK. So they kind of forgave him for almost being a sellout. The following year, he covered Prince's Kiss with Art of Noise. It reached #5 in the UK and actually 31 in the US. That song was a good song. Everybody wanted to hear that song. And the video was played frequently on MTV and VH1. And he won the MTV Video Award for Breakout Video. Now, in the 90s, he resurged again. He got his Hollywood Walk of Fame star in 89. Okay, and that really started the Tom Jones talk again. It was right in front of Fredericks of Hollywood. That's where his star is. He collaborated with Van Morrison on an album, Carrying a Torch, released in 91. And Jones covered a Morrison title track. And then he recorded it in Towns House, I think it was, or Townsend or Townhouse, I forget, studios in London. And Morrison wrote and produced 4 songs for the album. In 92, he did the UK Glastonbury Festival, which is very big in the UK. In 93, he appeared as himself in 2 US sitcoms, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and The Simpsons. He signed with Interscope Records in 93, released the lead in How to Swing It. The following year, the first single, If I Only Knew, went to #11 in the UK. So UK still liked Tom Jones. He performed at the 94 MTV Europe Awards, and he was the host. In 97, he covered Randy Newman's song, You Can Leave Your Hat On the soundtrack to Full Monty, the movie, and it was a really good cover. He, in 96, appeared as himself in Mars Attacks, like I told you. Now, in the 21st century, Bill Clinton invited him to perform at the White House for 2000's Millennium Celebration in Washington. He got a bunch of honors for his work. The Brit Award for Best British Male. He was the voice of the national rugby team in Australia. He was, again, it seemed like he always reinvented himself. So by 2000, he was among one of the artists who performed at Wembley Stadium for the concert for Diana after her death, and they did concerts for her. Joined on stage by Joe Perry of Aerosmith, and Josh Stone, who's a pretty good soul singer. He did some of his own songs. He covered the Arctic Monkeys song, I Bet You Look Good on the Dance Floor. He was always a boxing fan. He sang the national anthem for some boxing matches. He sang God Save the Queen. He's always involved in everything, Tom Jones. He's a beloved, and he's been around a long time. He released 24 Hours in 2008 on S-Curve Records, new material to be released in the United States, the first one to be released in 15 years, since 2003. And he was still performing 200 dates a year as he approached his 70th birthday. And he set out on a world tour to promote the album. He said he doesn't want to be an oldie, he wants to be a goodie. He continued to raise money for causes. In 2012, he released Spirit in the Room. The track list included covers of songs by Paul McCartney, Paul Simon, Leonard Cohen, Richard and Linda Thompson, Blind Willie Johnson, Tom Waits, Low Anthem. He knew where to go, what was listening, who was listening. So what about him now? It's going to be 86, right? In 2021, he announced that Surrounded by Time, his 4th cover album, would be produced by Ethan Johns, alongside a new release, a new single, his rendition of Tom Snyder's Talking Reality Television Bites, a blues. Now, in March, he appeared on Later with Jules Holland. Great show. Jules Holland, former keyboard player of Squeeze, big show in England. And he sang I'm Growing Old from that album. The album was released on April 23rd, 21. He appeared at the Principality Stadium in Cardiff with the Stereophonics, and it was a live broadcast on BBC Two. on June 17th and 18th of 22. Just, a mega career that spanned 60 years. He was married to his girlfriend from school, Melinda Rose, until her death from 1957 until 2016. Never went off with these young models. Or I don't know what he did in his personal life, but he always stayed true to one woman, his high school sweetheart. They were married at 16. She became pregnant with their first son, right after their wedding. To support his family, he worked in construction. He worked at a glove factory, and then he found success as a singer. Now, there were many well publicized infidelities, but he stayed married to her. He had a Los Angeles mansion where he lived most of the time. When she passed away, he sold it and its contents, apart from the treasured photos that he had, and he moved into an apartment in London. And that was his wife's dying wish. Wanted to get him out of there. Now, he stated that he had sex with up to 250 groupies a year at the peak of his fame. I could believe that. He had affairs with many American women. Mary Wilson, the singer, uh, former Miss World Marjorie Wallace. She was engaged at the time to Peter Evson. Cassandra Peterson. Um, he actually came out with an article which they banned. He said Cassandra Peterson, who was Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, that she lost her virginity to him, and it was such a terrible experience that she required stitches afterwards. I don't know if that's true, but he seems like a good guy, so I don't know. Maybe he brought him to the hospital. One of his affairs resulted in a son. While on tour in 1987, Catherine Berkeley had an affair with a model, and she discovered she was pregnant, and he had a legal battle with DNA testing. Court ruled in 89 that Jones was the boy's father. He denied the court findings till 2008, where he admitted it was true. But he had no interest in meeting his son. His son's Jonathan Berkeley. Now, I'm surprised. It's interesting. When you're older, you would think, by then he was in his late 60s or early 70s, right? But I guess not. He met Elvis, like I said, in 65. Elvis was filming Paradise Hawaiian Style on the Paramount film stage. And they spent a lot of time carousing, hanging out in Presley's private suite. And there were rumors after Presley died that Tom Jones started dating Priscilla. Now, they had known each other since the 60s, but they spent time together, and he swore that he would never do that. Now, people thought they were dating because they were seen together at Jeff Franklin's house, and they were hugging. No one saw them kiss or anything, but you know how rumors are. Now, Tom Jones doesn't tell you what you really want to hear. He tells you what he wants to tell you. He sounds like a very interesting guy. Back in that day, everybody was cheating on their wives. It's not right, but they were. Wives stayed quiet and went to the health spa in their Maserati. That was the price they paid. Not so much anymore. Now, his style developed out of American soul music, R&B, rock and roll, Little Richard, Solomon Burke, Jackie Wilson, Brooke Benton, Elvis. He loved Elvis. He admired him, and then he became a close friend. Jerry Lee Lewis. He's a very interesting character, to say the least. Hey, New Orleans soul. Yes, he was the man back in the 70s. He still has an amazing voice now. Did you, Foo? Yeah, he would have asked for your autograph, Foo. I'm ready to. John, how are you? Well, attend to your things, and thank you very much. Thank you so much for thinking of me and coming in. Hey, Mitch. Hey, Will. William, there will be a song on there, a short for you tonight. You had requested. So, let me tell you a little bit about the giveaway. Every first of the month, starting July 1st, I am going to give away a $100 Amazon gift card. There will have to be at least 50 names that have been in 5 shows, which we've been doing. I'm going to count the baseball shows because that would be only fair because that's where I get my 600 views. Um, and it will be either Cash App to you, PayPal, or an Amazon gift card if you want to give me an address to send it. Or if I could do it over the net. I'm not sure how to do that, but I can figure it out. That's for you guys because you're always there for me. And I want to pay back something. And believe me, it's coming out of my pocket because I don't make any money on here. But you guys give me something more than money. You give me camaraderie. And I really enjoy doing this. And I hope you enjoy it. But Tom Jones, he's just an iconic figure. Like I said, I remember one of the first albums. When you're 9, you start looking through albums. You don't have your own. So whatever's in the house, but you start getting acquainted with music. And I remember the album, Tom Jones, the live album. And I remember my father used to watch it, the show, because I remember him saying Big Tom Sullivan, whatever his name was, Big Tom Sullivan, who I read on later on, was a studio musician, great guitarist. He used to sit in a chair. And so I got my initiation into Tom Jones. And Tom Jones has had some great stuff. Now, I saw him the first time in the 80s in Las Vegas. And then I saw him around 1990, whenever Sex Bomb came out, early 90s, at the Taj in Atlantic City. And he still looked great. He was playing a lot of he had just come out with a new album. It had to be the early 90s. Or mid 90s, maybe. And it was good, but everybody was waiting for the good stuff. But you have to remember, he was still only in his 50s then. He was young. But his voice has never gone. His voice is incredible. And my friend Steve Tyndall, the late Steve Tyndall, who was a drummer of Jesus Christ Superstar on Broadway and all that, he told me he was in a bathroom. They were performing the Druids in New York. And he saw him in the bathroom putting a sock in his pants. So he must have done that. But I remember, this is Tom Jones. I remember that. My father used to watch it all the time. And it was one of the few albums that I liked of theirs. So I would play it as a kid. And I got into him. He was great when I saw him. Oh, so maybe it was 2000 I went to see him? Oh, wow. I thought it was earlier in the 90s. All right. See how old I'm getting? Yeah, I remember. He was good. He was real good. I saw him at the Taj Mahal in Atlantic City. I don't think I saw him at Caesar's Palace when I saw him. I don't know where he was in Vegas, but he was good. He was good. I remember because the next night I saw, when I saw him in Vegas, I was there for 4 days with an ex-girlfriend. I went to see David Brenner and Mary Hart. She opened up for David Brenner, and Mary Hart was good, a singer. I saw Wayne Newton, Tom Jones. I don't remember. I don't remember, but I will tell you, I stayed at the Sands Hotel in Sammy Davis Jr.'s suite. My friend was a big casino guy. He used to run junkets. I think I told you guys about it at one time. I used to go on all the trips. He'd pay me. I went to all the islands. I'd be the coordinator. He'd have a group of 40 gamblers. We went to Puerto Rico, Curacao, Aruba, all those places. Well, we'd go to Vegas. And he couldn't make it. So I took my girlfriend. And back then it wasn't strict like this. He made a call, I'm running late. My friend is checking in because, it's his room. The room was given away. The only room they had left was Sammy Davis Jr.'s suite. It was all like lavender and pink. He had no bathtub. He only took showers. Had no bathtub in the suite. You would think it would have a jacuzzi or something. No. But it was all pinkish, and I remember staying in that suite, and it was amazing. Had a big marble cutout in a kitchen area, and someone knocked on the door. My girlfriend just got out of the shower, and she screams, "Babe, did you order anything?" She thought maybe I ordered room service. I said, no. It was the butler who came in to butt. He wasn't a cook, but he did what you wanted. And he said, "Would you like a salad?" Then he had some stuff sent in and chopped up a salad for us or something. It's a long time. It's like 1985. It's a long time ago. But I do remember then going to the New Year's Eve party, not with her. I was sitting with Telly Savalas, David Brenner. Telly Savalas showed me a picture and said, my niece, not his niece, his goddaughter, is going to be a star. It was Jennifer Aniston. She was like 13. I kid you not. Telly was great. He was exactly what you would think of him. He acted just like Kojak. Open shirt, big medallion. He was telling me he lived in the Garden City Hotel in Long Island. He didn't like to have apartments. He lived in the Garden City Hotel, and his parents owned the restaurant in Manhattan. He had worked as a typesetter or something, or a reporter in CBS News or something. And he went to a fortune teller. And the fortune teller said, shave your head and you'll get a part. He did. And he did. Very nice guy. David Brenner, I saw him playing poker with a Sergio Tacchini sweatsuit. He was there with Shecky Green and Henry Winkler. Evidently, they liked Brenner played cards constantly. Telly did also. On that trip, I met Jerry Lewis. I went with my friend to the Las Vegas Racket Club or Health Club. And Jerry Lewis was in white shorts, white sweater, playing racquetball. We were eating there. He had just finished up. I saw him hand someone money. He must have lost. And I said to the waiter, is he friendly? Because I used to watch the telethon since I was 10 years old. It was a big thing, staying up all night. And he goes, well, if you mention the telethon, he'll be nice to you. Just say thank you for what you do. I went over. I wasn't lying. I could tell him all about the telethon. I said, I remember when in 1972 or 3, Frank Sinatra had a car accident and couldn't make it. I was watching. He goes, yeah. So he knew I wasn't bullshitting because there was no Google back then. Yeah, Frank Sinatra was supposed to show up and he didn't. He was in a car accident, a minor car accident that night. He didn't come. He remembered that. I said, I remember when you had the Spinners on doing Mighty Love and they went into the crowd. He knew I wasn't bullshitting. I said, thank you so much for what you do. And I was like 24. And he thought it was interesting. I said, I used to stay up all night and I just couldn't believe it. And it was amazing. And you were amazing. He said, thank you. I said, could you sign this to me? So he takes the napkin, he writes to me and hands it back to me. And I look, it says to me. And he laughed. And he goes, what's your name? You didn't tell me your name. He was very nice. I heard horror stories about him since, but he was actually very nice to me for that. All of a minute and a half I spoke to him. Yeah, Wayne Newton. I'll tell you what. Wayne Newton played guitar. Then he went on the drums. He played like 9 instruments. That was his show. He came up and said, I could do this. And he started playing the drums. And he went on the guitar. Then he went on the violin. He played like 1 million instruments. He was very talented, Wayne Newton. And he didn't look like a wax figure back then. He still looked like he was alive. But he was good. I enjoyed it. You had to go see Wayne Newton. I also had the cab driver. I played golf for the first time. Their public courses are just like private courses here. They're beautiful. Right near the public course, Liberace had his house there. And they showed me, the cab driver said, "Oh, Liberace lives over there." About 15 minutes off the strip. But Tom Jones was amazing. He was. Because he was a tough guy. There was a story. I'm going to see if I can find it. Very interesting. I'll lose my advertising money here, but I don't care.
The following feature may contain references. Unusual.
What was it? Thank You Lucky Stars. What was it? Thank You Lucky Stars. I think it was. Yeah. And I had It's Not Unusual out, right? My first hit record in 1965. And the Beatles were on the show, on the TV show. So I went to watch them rehearse in the afternoon. And I'm sitting there, where the audience would be later on, with my manager, Gordon Mills. So I'm waiting for the Beatles to come out and want to watch them rehearse, So John Lennon was the first one out on the floor. And he looks up at me, and he says, he's got the guitar. And he says, "It's not a unicorn, it's an elephant." He said, "How you doing, you Welsh puff?" I said, "Come up here, you scouse, and I'll show you." So Gordon Mills said, "That's a sense of humor. Don't get the," which it was, and then we became friends, of course, later on. But he was like, taking the mick or taking the like. So, yeah, so that was a sense of humor. Then the last show he did in his life, was in New York, and we were doing a thing for Lord Grade. So everybody not everybody, but a lot of people that had worked for Lord Grade, did this TV show. So John Lennon was there with a band he put together. I remember, and they had faces on the back of their heads. Whichever way they turned, there was a face. So he sang "Stand By Me" because he loved that song, Benny King song. So after we did the show, we were waiting to sort of go on stage, and we were sort of hanging in the wings, and Lord Mountbatten was there. I think he was Master of Ceremonies. So he walks up to me, right, and he passes John Lennon, and he comes up to me and he says, "Mr. Jones, the royal family think you're wonderful." I said, "Oh, thank you very much, sir." And Lennon was going, hey, OBE me, OBE. And he just kept walking. So I was laughing my ear.
There you go. Yes, William. And let me tell you something. They had met before that. They had seen each other before that. That was a story. But they had met a few times before that. Let's see if I can find it. They were pictured a year before in front of a restaurant. They actually had seen each other before a restaurant, before that, but it was more appealing if that was the first time. But they had seen each other in LA. They ran into each other at a restaurant a year before. Oh, wow. But yeah, that was interesting. That was terrific. And they played it like it was the first time, but they had seen each other a couple of times before. And it was great television. It really was. I know Jerry Lewis was a big fan of Tom Jones.
And another check for $1,000 from the Stardust Hotel. That's beautiful. Thank you.
And the organization, $5,000 check on behalf of my two grandchildren, Amanda and AJ Lambert, because they're healthy. You do that one more time, we're going to buy the furniture. Listen, I have a friend who loves what you do every year and who just wanted to come out. Would you send my friend out, please? Where is he? We just send him out here. Come here. All right, break it up. Break it up. What is this here? Break it up. I think it's about time, don't you? And thank you. Yeah, I think it's about time. We folk. Son of a bitch. Should have been a Jew that did it. We could whip the world without the guns of Navarro. There they are, folks.
I don't know.
So how you been?
You know, it seems like we haven't seen each other for 20 years.
Well, you know, there was all those rumors about our breaking up, and then when I started the show and you weren't here, I believed it.
I'll show you guys to your room if you like. The lights are out upstairs, so follow me.
Oh, he drinks a lot, this kid.
So you working?
I work 6 weeks a year at the Megam.
The Megam.
And 6 days I do a roast. And
Would you excuse us a minute?
I just want to see the wires are all right.
Gee, it's nice to see you.
no,
I'm over here.
No, I had to come in because I had to, I had to go, and this was the closest place.
You always have to go.
I always drink.
Back then, it was incredible. Hey, John, Buddy Love. Yeah. Yes. What happened there was someone told Dean, I was shocked to see Jerry there. And Dean said Jerry wasn't there. And he goes, no, he was in the back. And Dean called him and said, why didn't you tell me? And he goes, I didn't want it to be about us. And I think they spoke to each other once a week until Dean Martin died after that. Yeah. Yeah, that's true, William. Dean Martin was, I remember in the late 80s when the Rat Pack got back together. And they did a few, what was it, the 80s or 90s? I think it was maybe after his son got killed. And he wasn't well at the time. They said he wasn't the same after that. He was also older. He had health problems. But, and he loved Tom Jones. I know Dean Martin did as well. I had read a book where they had talked about Dean Martin, and he said that Tom Jones, just the energy that he brings to the stage, like he just has to walk on the stage, right? Some guys just have that invincibility. Your voice doesn't have to be on that night, like the Beatles. When the Beatles would come out there, people came to see the Beatles. You didn't give a shit what they sounded like. You couldn't even hear them. And Tom Jones had that sex appeal. You just want to go. You want to go see Wayne Newton, right? If Wayne Newton's 100, I saw Wayne Newton. You know, everyone wanted to see Siegfried and Roy. Why? Because that was the big show. Anytime there's a big show, someone has to be able to say, "I saw it." Yeah, I heard it wasn't great. Okay, take care, John. See you later. Hopefully with a Met win and a happy dance. So, yeah, Tom Jones, great career, still going strong. Let me just see if I could find. Just incredible. This is incredible. This came across my feed months before.
There's something in a hit song that remains that way.
Yeah.
But I like to do a mixture of stuff.
Yeah. I've always wanted to sing with this man right here.
If we were to do a duet,
Yes.
what would you like to do?
I don't know. What would you like? Did you have thoughts on this?
Do you like the Everly Brothers?
Yeah, I love the Everly Brothers.
Let It Be Me.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know that song?
Yeah, I know it.
Do you want to give it a shot?
Let's do it.
One, 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 one. Oh, that's not bad.
Two, 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 two.
You ready?
Let's do it.
I bless the day I found you. I wanna stay around you, and so I beg you, let it be me.
Don't take this hand from one. If you must clean someone now and forever, let it be me.
Each time we meet, love, I find company.
without your sweet love, what would life be? So never leave me lonely. Tell me you love me only, and that you'll always let it be me. Say that you love.
Incredible. Really incredible. And just in case you like this song, this is one of my favorite songs.
It was written for me by Mr. Burt Bacharach and Hal David. He wrote this song for a Woody Allen film by the same name. We're going to do it for you. And you can join in with this one as well if you want to. What's the pussycat? Whoa, what's the pussycat? Whoa, whoa, whoa. Pussycat, pussycat, I've got flowers and lots of hours to spend with you. So go and follow your cute little pussycat nose. Pussycat, pussycat, I love you. Yes, I do. You, baby, pussycat nose. What's the pussycat? What's the pussycat? Pussycat, pussycat, you're so pretty, and I'm so willing to care for you. So go and make up your big little pussycat. Pussycat, pussycat, I love you. Yes, I do. You, baby, pussycat.
Amazing, right? He is amazing. Thank you, everybody, for coming in. I will see you tonight on my Met post game, probably around midnight. God bless you all.